Welcome to the Clinical Pen.
Great to be here.
Make sure to subscribe to Clinical Pen wherever you listen and head over to clinicalpen.com.
Definitely do.
Okay, let's discuss something that, well, it feels like a real turning point for many of us. That moment you hit 30.
Mm-hmm. Big milestone.
It is, right? And you still feel energetic, maybe even, invincible sometimes.
Yes, sometimes.
But there's this sort of quiet understanding that things are shifting. Your body isn't quite running on the same early 20s autopilot anymore.
That's a good way to put it. Autopilot off.
Those late nights might linger a little longer. Maybe that metabolism feels a tad less forgiving. So what does this really mean for keeping yourself in top shape, even if you don't have any, glaring health issues?
You've really hit on something crucial there. The 20s are often about, exploring limits. Maybe not always prioritizing sleep or nutrition perfectly.
Guilty as charged, probably for many.
Right? By 30, those patterns, those lifestyle choices, how you eat, how much you move, how you handle stress, they really start to compound.
Ah, okay. It catches up.
It does. And this is precisely the decade when many common chronic conditions, the kind that don't send up immediate red flags, start to quietly take root.
Like what kinds of things?
Things like high blood pressure, maybe prediabetes or elevated cholesterol. They can begin their work without you feeling a thing.
Wow, okay. Silent stuff.
Exactly. That's why proactive health, what we call preventative care, becomes not just wise, but truly essential after 30.
So think of this discussion as your essential guide. We're going to unpack the most important checkups and screenings you should be considering as you navigate your 30s. It's about getting ahead of potential issues, building a solid foundation for the future.
And empowering yourself.
Yes, empowering yourself with the knowledge to partner effectively with your doctor on your personal health journey.
And the return on that investment, just taking that time, it's significant. Catching things early often means simpler, more effective interventions.
Makes sense.
It can translate to considerable savings in long-term healthcare costs down the line, genuinely enhance your quality of life, like day-to-day and years from now.
Which is what we all want.
Right. And perhaps most importantly, it helps you and your doctor build a personalized roadmap for your health based on your unique body and risk factors.
Okay, let's unpack this further then and get into the specifics. When you're turning 30, or maybe you're already there, where does this proactive health journey typically begin with a doctor?
It usually starts with the cornerstone, the annual physical examination.
Ah, the classic yearly check-in. So if someone feels completely fine, they're hitting the gym, eating pretty well, stress is manageable, why is that specific yearly appointment still, non-negotiable?
Because it's so much more than just listening to your heart and lungs, though that's definitely part of it. It's your doctor's chance to get a comprehensive baseline.
Okay, a starting point.
Exactly. They're tracking vital metrics over time, your blood pressure trends, heart rate, weight, body mass index, or BMI. These are the early indicators of shifts that might not be noticeable to you day to day.
Little changes add up.
Precisely. And crucially, the physical is the dedicated time to have a conversation about your personal context. Reviewing your family history becomes increasingly relevant as you get older.
Right, like what ran in the family.
Yeah, knowing if heart disease, diabetes, or certain cancers run in your family significantly impacts your risk profile. It's where you and your doctor discuss your lifestyle habits, your concerns, and together you map out which specific preventive screenings are right for you that year.
So it's like a strategy session for your health.
That's a perfect way to think about it. Your personalized health strategy session.
Got it. Okay, so it's not just a snapshot, it's setting the stage for tracking over time and personalization. Okay, moving on. Something often called the silent killer, blood pressure. Why is regular screening for that so critical, especially if you have no headaches, no dizziness, nothing that feels off?
Well, it really earns that nickname because high blood pressure usually has no symptoms.
Yeah.
None at all.
Really?
Often, yes. You can walk around with dangerously elevated pressure for years, feeling perfectly fine. Meanwhile, that constant pressure is silently stressing and damaging your arteries and organs, your heart, brain, kidneys, eyes.
Wow. That's scary.
It can be. This significantly increases your risk of heart attack, stroke, kidney failure, and vision problems down the road.
Right.
Screening is just vital because it's the only way to know you have it in the early stages.
Okay, only way to know.
Right. Catching it then allows for interventions, whether that's lifestyle changes or maybe medication, that can prevent that long-term damage. Guidelines typically recommend checking it at least every 1 to 2 years.
1 to 2 years, okay.
More often if you have any risk factors or have had high readings in the past.
Oh,
And yeah, that tip about checking it at home,
Mm.
that can provide a fuller picture of your readings throughout the day, which is really valuable data for your doctor.
That really underscores the preventative aspect, stopping damage before it even starts. Along those lines, what about blood sugar? Why is checking for things like prediabetes or type 2 diabetes important even if you feel like you have plenty of energy and aren't experiencing those classic symptoms like, increased thirst or frequent urination?
Well, just like blood pressure, issues with how your body processes sugar can develop very gradually and silently. Pre-diabetes, where blood sugar levels are elevated but not quite in the diabetes range yet.
Right, the warning zone.
Exactly. That can be present for years without noticeable symptoms.
Mhm.
Your body might be developing insulin resistance, basically. Your cells aren't responding as effectively to the insulin your pancreas makes, but you won't feel it until it reaches a more advanced stage.
Like full-blown type 2 diabetes.
Correct. And that's when complications start to emerge. Simple blood tests, like a fasting glucose test taken after you haven't eaten for several hours, or an HbA1c test can detect these early signs.
HbA1c, that's the longer-term one.
That's right. It's particularly useful because it gives a picture of your average blood sugar levels over the past, say, 2 to 3 months. Offers a longer-term view than just a single fasting test.
Gotcha. And how often for that?
The general recommendation for screening is about every 3 years.
Mhm.
But again, this should definitely be more frequent if you have risk factors like a family history of diabetes,
Mhm.
a sedentary lifestyle, or are overweight. Personalization is key.
Okay, so the theme of silent issues is definitely strong here. Annual physical, blood pressure, blood sugar, and cholesterol. Another big one, always connected to heart health. When we get that cholesterol panel or lipid profile, what are doctors really honing in on beyond just a single number?
Good question. They're looking at the different types of fats or lipids circulating in your blood to assess your risk of plaque building up in your arteries.
Which can lead to heart attack and stroke.
Exactly. The panel breaks it down.
Yeah.
There's total cholesterol, then LDL, often called the bad cholesterol, because high levels contribute to that plaque buildup.
Right.
Then HDL, the good cholesterol, which actually helps remove excess cholesterol from your arteries.
So you want that one higher.
Ideally, yes.
Yeah.
And then there are triglycerides, another type of fat that, when high, also increases risk. It's the balance of these lipids that really tells the story.
For the whole picture, not just one part.
Precisely. High LDL or triglycerides or low HDL can all increase your risk over time, even if you feel perfectly healthy. Catching this early allows for discussion about diet, exercise, or potentially medication strategies to manage levels before they cause significant problems.
And the timing for that test.
The standard frequency is usually every 4 to 6 years for those with low risk, but your doctor will definitely recommend more frequent testing if you have risk factors like a family history of high cholesterol or early heart disease, or if your levels were maybe borderline in the past.
Right, that personalization again. Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. The thyroid. This little gland in your neck, it seems so small, yet it can have this massive impact on how you feel day to day. Why is screening for thyroid issues particularly important to consider after 30?
You're absolutely right. Its size definitely belies its power. The thyroid produces hormones that regulate metabolism, essentially, how your body uses energy,
Got it. Engine control.
pretty much. And thyroid disorders, particularly hypothyroidism, where the gland is underactive, become much more common after age 30. And they are notably more prevalent in women.
Okay, more common in women after 30. Why is it tricky?
The challenge is the symptoms can be incredibly nonspecific. They can be easily dismissed as just being tired or stressed or, oh, just getting older.
Like what kind of symptoms?
Things like fatigue, unexplained weight changes up or down, feeling cold when others aren't, dry skin, even changes in mood or digestion. Because these symptoms are so vague, many people don't realize their thyroid is actually the culprit.
So you could just think, oh, I need more sleep or work is stressful.
Exactly. A simple blood test, primarily checking your TSH level, that's thyroid stimulating hormone, it's a signal from your brain telling the thyroid what to do, can quickly indicate if your thyroid is functioning properly. Sometimes they'll check free T3 and free T4 as well, which are the actual hormones the thyroid produces.
Okay, that really highlights why these screenings are so vital. Catching things that might be hiding in plain sight may be masked by general life stress. Let's pivot now to screenings specific to women's health. Pap smears and breast exams are pretty foundational. Let's talk about the Pap and HPV test combination first. What's the goal there and why the recommended frequency?
Yeah, foundational is the right word. The primary goal of Pap smears and HPV tests is simply to prevent cervical cancer. These tests look for abnormal cells on the cervix before they become cancerous.
Catching it super early.
Way early. A pap smear identifies precancerous cell changes, and the HPV test looks for the human papillomavirus, which we know is the main cause of most cervical cancers. Screening guidelines have evolved a bit.
Okay.
For most women, it's now recommended to have a pap smear every 3 years, or a co-test, which is both pap and HPV together, every 5 years. This usually starts in your early 20s.
So your 30s are key for maintaining that schedule.
Absolutely. And this visit also typically includes a pelvic exam, and it's a really crucial opportunity to discuss any reproductive health concerns or contraceptive needs with your provider.
Right, holistic care. And what about the breast exam component?
So a clinical breast exam, where your doctor feels for lumps or changes, that's typically done yearly as part of your annual physical.
Okay, the hands-on check.
Right. While it's essential, clinical exams and self-exams, which we should definitely talk about too, they detect lumps once they're palpable, meaning big enough to feel. Mammography is the gold standard for detecting breast cancer even earlier.
Before you can feel anything.
Exactly. For women of average risk, mammogram screening usually begins around age 40, but it's absolutely vital to discuss your family history with your doctor. They might recommend starting earlier if you have a strong genetic predisposition or other risk factors.
So again, personalize that start date.
Always. The purpose of mammograms is to find lumps or suspicious areas that are too small to feel, which significantly improves the chances of successful treatment if cancer is detected.
Makes total sense. Okay, let's talk about men's health screenings as you move through your 30s and into your 40s. Prostate health often comes up here.
Yes, absolutely. While significant prostate issues are generally less common in the 30s compared to later decades, it's definitely worth discussing with your doctor, especially as you approach 40.
Start the conversation early.
Exactly, particularly if you have a family history of prostate cancer.
Yeah.
The conversation around screening, which typically involves a PSA blood test that's prostate-specific antigen and sometimes a physical exam, that usually begins for men at average risk around age 50.
Okay, 50 for average risk.
But if you have those risk factors, like a strong family history, your doctor may well suggest starting that discussion and potential screening earlier, maybe even in your 40s, just to establish a baseline and monitor for any early signs.
Got it. Good to know. Now, something we can literally do ourselves regularly, skin checks. What specifics should we be looking for on our own skin when we do those checks?
Self-awareness is just incredibly powerful for skin cancer prevention, while regular professional skin exams by a dermatologist are highly recommended.
Especially if you've had a lot of sun.
Oh, definitely. Annually, or more often if you have a history of significant sun exposure, tanning, bed use, or maybe many moles. But your own regular checks are your absolute first line of defense.
What are we looking for?
You're looking for anything new, changing, or just unusual. The ABCDE rule is a fantastic little mnemonic to guide your monthly self-exam.
ABCDE.
A is for asymmetry. If you draw a line through the mole, do the two halves not match? B is for border irregularity. Are the edges blurred, notched, or ragged? C is for color variation. Is the color uneven, with different shades of brown, black, red, white, or blue? D is for diameter. Is it larger than about 6 millimeters, roughly the size of a pencil eraser, though some melanomas can be smaller?
Okay. Size matters, but not always.
Right. And E is for evolving. Has the mole or spot changed in size, shape, color, or texture? Does it itch or bleed? If you notice any of these, definitely get it checked by a professional soon.
The ABCDE rule. That's incredibly practical, easy to remember. Okay, moving down the list. Eye exams. We often think of these as just checking if we need glasses or contacts updated, but regular eye appointments look for much more serious conditions, right?
Absolutely. Well, getting your prescription updated is certainly part of it. Comprehensive eye exams are vital for detecting serious eye diseases that can develop silently.
Another silent one.
Yes. And potentially lead to vision loss if not caught early. Conditions like glaucoma, which damages the optic nerve, macular degeneration, which affects your central vision, and retinal damage, particularly common in people with diabetes or high blood pressure, often have no early symptoms you would notice.
So you wouldn't know until vision is affected?
Often, yes. The frequency depends on your vision and overall health. Typically every 2 years if you have normal vision, but annually if you wear glasses or contact lenses, have a family history of eye disease, or have conditions like diabetes or hypertension that can affect your eyes.
So check with your eye doctor on frequency.
Definitely. Your optometrist or ophthalmologist can spot these problems during a routine exam.
Okay, maybe less surprising, but still crucial on this list. Dental health. Why is that included on a list of key preventive health checkups, not just, teeth checkups?
Great question. Because oral health is deeply fundamentally connected to overall health.
How so?
Well, infections in your mouth, like severe gum disease, can actually be linked to other systemic issues, including things like heart disease and diabetes.
Wow, okay. Didn't realize the link was that strong.
It is. Regular dental checkups, usually recommended every 6 months, are essential not just for preventing cavities and gum disease, but also for catching early signs of problems before they cause pain or require really extensive work.
What happens at those checkups?
A typical visit includes a thorough cleaning, potentially x-rays to check bone structure and any hidden issues between teeth, and importantly, an oral cancer screening. That's another area where early detection can be literally life-saving. Your dentist is a key part of your preventive care team.
Definitely part of the team. Okay, this raises a really important question for me. We've covered physical health pretty much head to toe, from blood work to eyes to teeth. But what about mental health? The source material we looked at listed this as a bonus, but honestly, it feels incredibly essential as we navigate the pressures of our 30s.
I agree completely, 100%. Mental health isn't a bonus. It's a core pillar of overall well-being, period.
Especially in your 30s.
Absolutely, especially in a decade often marked by significant life changes, career building, maybe starting families, relationship dynamics, just increased responsibilities all around.
Yeah, a lot happens.
A lot. Many people in their 30s grapple with stress, anxiety, or depression that might be undiagnosed or untreated. And these can absolutely impact physical health, sleep, energy levels, overall quality of life.
So talk to your doctor about it.
Yes. Bringing this up with your primary care provider during your physical is crucial. They can ask targeted questions about your mood, stress levels, sleep patterns, energy. They can use validated screening tools if needed, like the PHQ-9 for depression or the G87 for anxiety.
Okay, tools exist.
They do. It's really about acknowledging that your emotional and psychological state is just as vital to your health as your blood pressure or your cholesterol levels.
That's such an important point. Okay, so bringing it all together, what does this pretty comprehensive list of checkups mean for you, the listener, navigating this chapter of your life? It sounds like potentially a lot, but it's not about doing absolutely everything all the time, is it?
Exactly right. This isn't a mandate to go out and book appointments for every single one of these tomorrow. Think of it more like a menu of possibilities to discuss with your doctor.
A menu, I like that.
Yeah. The beauty of modern preventive care, particularly after 30, is that it becomes highly personalized. Your doctor takes this general framework and tailors it based on your specific risk factors.
Right. My history, my lifestyle.
Exactly. They'll consider your family history in detail, your lifestyle. Are you sedentary? Do you smoke? How's your diet? Your personal health history, your stress levels, your sleep quality. All of these factors influence which screenings are most critical for you and how frequently you actually need them.
So it's about having that informed conversation.
Precisely. To create your individual health plan.
Which really circles back beautifully to the big picture benefits we started with. Engaging in this process, having the physical, getting the recommended screenings based on that talking openly with your doctor, it's all about being proactive rather than reactive.
Taking charge.
It's catching potential health issues when they're small, when they're manageable, and hopefully before they've caused any real damage. It's about potentially avoiding more serious illnesses and the associated high costs and impacts on your life down the road.
Yeah, it truly is an investment in a healthier, more vibrant future.
Couldn't agree more.
Absolutely. It's taking control of your well-being at a really critical age. So, make that appointment today to start the conversation.
That call to action really resonates. And I think the final thought here, maybe building on everything we've explored, is that approaching preventative health in your 30s. It isn't just about waiting for something to go wrong or just screening for problems.
No, not at all.
It's fundamentally about cultivating well-being. It's an active commitment to yourself, building awareness, and a strong foundation, layer by layer, test by test, conversation by conversation.
That pays dividends for decades to come. It's empowering yourself with knowledge and action.
Well said. And do not forget to subscribe and visit clinicalpen.com.